quick, graph y equals the opposite of the cube root of x by hand 2 different ways. This is part of the family of functions series. You will need graph paper, or you can download this PDF and print it. Press pause as needed anytime during the video. The first way we're going to use is the cube root dance, or what I call the cube root dance. And recall that the graph of a function and its opposite are reflections or mirror images about the x-axis. That means they have the same x-coordinates, but the y-coordinates are opposites of one another. We'll begin with the origin, because the opposite of the cube root of 0 is 0, so the origin is on the graph. Instead of going right 1 up 1, we're going right 1 down 1, because the opposite of the cube root of 1 is negative 1. And the opposite of the cube root of 8 is negative 2, so we'll go right 8 and down 2. You can take cube roots of negative numbers, so left 1, up 1. The opposite of the cube root of negative 1 is positive 1. And the opposite of the cube root of negative 8 is positive 2. So with those 5 points, we should be able to connect the points and make the cube root looking graph. It's the opposite of that. And comparing that to its parent function in blue here, you can see that the graphs are in fact reflections about the x-axis. Second way, using a table. We'll start off with these 5 ordered pairs from the traditional y equals the cube root of x graph. And we're going to take the opposite of each of the y coordinates. So the opposite of 2 is negative 2. So we'll plot 8, negative 2. The opposite of 1 is negative 1, so 1 comma negative 1. The origin, the opposite of that is still the origin. Opposite of negative 1 is positive 1, so left 1, up 1. And the opposite of negative 2 is positive 2, so left 8 and up 2. Connecting those points, we get y equals the opposite of x cubed again. And again, comparing that to the parent function in blue, you can see that the graphs are in fact reflections about the x-axis.